And we're live. Good morning from Kildare in Ireland. Welcome to the very last TY Hope Let's Talk podcast of the academic year 24-25. This morning we are joined by Claudio from TC Alliance, and we are going to have a chat about how to prepare for careers in aviation and aerospace while you're still in school and in college, and what teachers, parents, and the industry can do to prepare the next generation for careers ahead. But just before we start, and we have our get going. We'd love to hear from anybody watching, especially let us know in the chat, in the comments below, where in the world are you watching from? And if you have any questions at all, fire away because that will keep the conversation very interesting, I'm sure, won't it, Claudio?
Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, looking forward to seeing where people are from. Actually, so just for reference, obviously, Fiona being in Ireland and TI Hub being an Irish company, I'm actually from Scotland originally. I'm Scottish Italian, but I'm currently living in Saudi Arabia, so it's nice and hot and sunny where I'm coming in today. So it'd be interesting to see where everybody else is from.
Oh, did we lose you for a second there, Claudio?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, just slightly. Oh, we're going
Your head.
into. So we have someone in from Brussels. So if you go up along the sideline there and go to the comments section, you'll see the comments coming in as well. So we have someone from LinkedIn checking in from Brussels. That's great. So you're in Saudi Arabia. You're originally from Scotland, and we never, when we have our conversation, I think in the space of a month when we were chatting before, you were in Amsterdam, you were in Brussels, you were back in, I think,
I was in
UK or
Montreal,
Ireland at some point, and then 6 months later,
and
you're in Saudi Arabia.
yeah, the last 3 months have been constantly traveling, but I am grounded now for the next month, or so my wife has
Good.
told me. Yeah, but that's a part of aviation as well, is that you get to travel a lot, you get to do a lot, and this, especially for somebody like me in my past, I grew up in a very kind of sheltered part of west of Scotland where aviation was a catalyst to kind of get out there and travel the world and promote my career. So yeah, we're trying to do what we can now to promote other kids coming from high school to get into aviation in order to be part of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, like it's such a vast industry, and as we were chatting just beforehand, it's not just your pilots, your engineers, from social media through to sustainability,
Absolutely.
designers, food, everything's so important in the ecosystem that is the aviation and aerospace industry. So
Well,
we've lots to go ahead.
we were talking before about certain subjects that kids do at high school. I mean, obviously, when you're in high school, you have to choose your subjects before your fourth year, fifth year, depending on
Mm,
where it is. And so you're kind of already going on a set path, and that set path can change, obviously. We actually had quite a lot of interns last year working from us from non-aviation sectors. So obviously, when you think of aviation, you're thinking STEM, physics, maths, anything to do with science, really. And yes, you need that for some technical roles. You definitely needed to be an engineer like I was, like for pilot and so on and so forth. But we had a lot of interns from design elements and from geography, from history, from social studies, from different aspects. And you were entering the industry under different careers that they didn't know existed. So like going in, especially nowadays, a huge amount on sustainability and getting in through different aspects to understand sustainability, how that can be impacted, what's going to be required for sustainable fuels, for even air traffic, So geography comes into a big part of it. Social skills comes into a big part of it. Design is a very good one, especially those who, you know, not just the engineering side of it, but those that are coming in for even the design of uniforms and what the brand awareness of what an airline and airport goes through. You've got
mm.
even shops and infrastructure that go into an airport. There's so many parts to it, and this is what I personally love about aviation, is that the skills are so transferable across the board that you can go into any part of it and start to transfer across. And we're talking about resources as well, and that's one thing. Obviously, TY Hub is an amazing resource for everybody to get to understand where to actually look at, and what is actually required. One of the projects that we were working on with EASA, the European Aviation Safety Agency, was looking at what were all the job requirements within the aviation sector, and there was like some 300 job requirements, even down to aviation psychology and aviation legislation and insurance providers. I mean, all different ones that are very specific for the aviation sector, and seeing what skills were required from them, whether that's academic skills or non-academic skills, and how they were transferable across the board, and how they were transferable to other industries, how people can go from other industries into aviation. So that's definitely something that when it's finished, that it should be kind of July time, that we can put on TY Hub and have that resource for everybody to look at.
Yeah, because it's hard to kind of filter it all down, and like you said, like if we can create a roadmap to the careers in the industry, it would be amazing to know, even not for those just starting off, but even if you're already in aviation and you want to go from being an engineer to being a pilot. Seems like a very easy jump, or going from the office down to the shop floor. Again, seems like a very easy transition, but where do you start and what do you need to do as well? I mean, like, the one thing that I have noticed, and I've worked with a lot of industries for TY Hub to show different careers and different paths, and we all meander, we all zigzag, and we go different places. But I think with aviation, it is the most friendliest job hopping industry out there. So
Absolutely. Like, even my wife, she started, well, she was nothing to do with aviation before we met. She worked for 10 years in manufacturing company and on the commercial side. And then she went into aviation on the commercial side. And since then has went from the commercial to the planning and logistics, then through into air political affairs, slots, analysis. So it's like completely drifted into different parts of it. And it's something that she really likes, is that part that she can stay within the industry, but jump every kind of 2-3 years into something that's very transferable roles and going across until she finds something that she really, really enjoys and then goes back and forward. And that's very, very regular for a lot of people in aviation.
It doesn't make our job easier though. Explaining to the students and the future of aviation on how to focus and prepare yourself for aviation. So we'll bring it back down to that basic, how to prepare. So we're, STEM subjects, or like even design. I think where it boils down to is, if you've got a passion for it, you will get into it. There are, there's the long route, there's the short route. There actually is no short route to any
There's no
career.
shortcut. There's no
Um, and whatever experience you pick, no, there isn't. Whatever experience you pick up, whether it's working in your local shop, doing a bit of summer job, or working in the hotel, you're learning how to deal with people face to face. That experience grows with you then into, like, I'm always telling the story about when I think it was my like third probably proper job, when we were allowed to work between while we were in school. I'm over 16. Um, and I worked in a restaurant, and the restaurant owner only had, because of an accident, only had three fingers on one hand. But he showed us how to carry six plates for dinner. And I can, not that I can carry six plates, but he showed us I can carry five. So I'm close enough to it, which came in very, very handy when my own family started to grow. But that's an experience that I remember, and I've brought on to, how to deal with customers, how to smile and interact and stuff like that. So that was my experience. So I do think, like, whatever experience you gather as your start off jobs will further you in your future careers as well.
absolutely.
We We do have that magic question from somebody on LinkedIn saying how to attract the new generation to aviation.
So you
Have
don't
we
mind?
got a magic 8 ball?
So this is a really, really good one. Obviously, it's on everybody's tongues at the moment. Everybody's talking about it, and the biggest issue is that everybody's talking about, oh, we have to engage them, we have to, you know, we have to actually position ourselves and stuff. But it's like the biggest problem is that there's a lot of old people like us actually trying to say, well, where are the kids going? And where we were, 20 years ago, 25 years ago when we got in the industry, it's not where the kids are now. Now the kids are completely virtual, they're completely online. And what we found really useful is being, positioning ourselves where the kids already are. And one of that is we're using Discord at the moment. Going on and just being in chat rooms with, and obviously there's pros and cons of that, but being in being in chat rooms and being in Discord channels that are specifically for gamers and understanding why you're playing these games, what's attracting you to the games, why do you like it? And a lot of them they like it because they're talking to people across the world, they're engaged in their own little world, they're in an environment that's controlled, that they're happy with. And it's like, well, fine. Then we designed games around aviation environment. That they're actually walking for an airport, walking for an airline, and they're playing a game, and they're kind of being educated as they're doing it without them realizing, because they're actually just there having fun talking with others. But once like, oh, I'm going to be a cabin crew this today, and I'm going to be a maintenance today, and I'm going to be service agent today, and they're playing this game, understanding what it is, and they're like talking with others about their experiences, what they're doing. And that's one way that we are attracting the next gen, is like being where the kids already are and talking to them about the industry and be like, by the way, are you aware that all these things exist? If you're not, can we talk to you about it? We're doing little workshops, we're doing little training sessions, come along, be part of it. And if you are, what are you doing about it? Is it something you're serious about? If it is, here's a load of resources that can really help you. And pushing people into that way of it. And the other one is using that dynamic, and we're using a lot of influencers, quote unquote influencers, through the airport guy and for Discord, in order to engage with these young folk to understand, like, what, I was in your position 3 or 4 years ago. This is how I got into the industry. What are you doing? Do you want to be part of it? And then linking that up with recruitment agencies, so that actually it's not the recruiters or the organizations going out there and trying to find people, but actually kids, like-minded kids, attracting each other and being a community themselves.
So here in Ireland, we had AvCon last year, and we have AvCon this year. So the Comic Con for aviation, and like that, it's the idea came from Comic Con and gaming conventions, and that side of things. We took a little slightly different approach though. We had over 6,500 students, and we just gathered them all up from schools and said, "Come on, let's show you what aviation is like, whether they were interested or not." And we have transition year here in Ireland, which is fantastic. It's that gap year, but you're still in education, so which is brilliant because the teachers are very enthusiastic about bringing the students to new experiences. So the whole idea was that they're going to get to touch it, feel it, smell it, be a part of it, rather than just saying, "Oh, aviation's great." So I think having that open conversation online, virtually, is fantastic. We also live streamed our event. So we ended up having like 14,000 eyes in total on the event. And it was like 6 hours of talks all about people's experiences, people's careers, and how they got there, and what did they do, and what would they change, and what would they like to see happening. And they were from students in third level right through to the CEOs of massive companies and pilots and stewardesses, and it was great. We had a bit of fun with it, but I think if we make it attractive by having that conversation with the younger people about what it is that they like and how they want to see things change. I think a big thing about nowadays is sustainability. It's a massive worry that students have. So if we can show them how we can involve that into aviation as well, how that can really help towards different things. like listening. I think the big thing is going out there and asking the questions and listening to what the students have to say.
That's the thing. You can't attract the next generation if you don't listen to what they want at the end of the day. And when you get 14,000 people online doing it, I mean, that's fantastic. When's AFCON going to be this year?
October.
Well, that's
So yeah,
definitely something
so we
for
have a big
sure.
announcement coming soon, over the next week or so. But yeah, October this year, we're doing it all again. Bigger, better, bolder. But we've already got 6,000 students signed up for it, so
Well, you
it's
need to give me a shout, and I'd love to get involved. Absolutely.
yeah, you're definitely coming over. Your flight is booked and all, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 for sure. October.
But that for me was like shown for me. I think, and it's a core of TY Hub as well, is whether they're interested in or in an area or not. We need to show them that they could be interested in it. It's not too far away. Teachers are not going to be the ones screaming from the rooftops about aviation or about logistics or about transport in general. They're looking after X amount of students every day, and everyone has a different career that they want to do. But if you say have 100 students in a year, and 10 of them are very keen on aviation, this is so. TC Alliance have an app. The airport guy has an app. TY Hub has
Airport
an app.
groups.
So it's all very
Yeah.
it's all very online and it's very accessible. I think if we make aviation more accessible for students, um,
That's the thing. You need
it's
to be accessible. You need to be where the kids are at the end of the day.
yeah,
So being online, being with it on the apps, and being connected all the time to TikTok, Instagram, all the things that I don't know about, and being there with them. So, I know one industry itself is attractive. We need to bring it more to 21st century. Yeah, we need more role models. We need short sharing. We need accessibility. Absolutely, and this goes back to where I mentioned I'm working with a company called the Airport Guy Group, and that's primarily Mohammed Taher. He's he's only quite young, he's still mid 20s, but he used to work for Heathrow, and he started just talk about on TikTok all the jobs that were going on around Heathrow. He was an engineer or on the airfield. He was talking about, well, this is how the ground handling works, and this is how the
mm,
baggage works, and this is how this works, and just started to do videos about it, just because he enjoyed it, because he loved it,
yeah,
and he's got over half a million. He had over half a million viewers or audience, sorry, not viewers, um, people connected to him on TikTok alone, plus other channels. And through that, they had an open day in Heathrow, and over 200 kids showed up because they saw his TikToks. And so it's
yeah,
like that's where the kids are. That's where you need to engage, and having that engagement through influencers, through people who are genuinely interested and energetic about the industry, just showcasing
mm,
the positive parts, but also the hard parts, but emphasizing how fun it can be. I mean, he did videos where he was out there in the middle of the night doing different shift patterns and be like, look at all the atmospheres that we can be part of it. So yeah, industry is attractive, but we don't show enough how attractive it is and
yes,
why
yeah,
we got into it. A lot of us who are a bit older as well, like we complain a bit about how difficult the industry can be, but that's like any job's difficult, but we've got to actually look at like what attracted us to it in the first place and what's very attractive nowadays. I mean, be able to see the world and travel and being in touch base with every part of every industry is really fantastic, really is.
yeah. It is a case of how do we make it accessible? So make it accessible by having that online conversation. Not flagging online as the only thing. Like there's all these air shows and airspace, and you're catching those students or young people that are already interested in the industry. So I think what we're trying to do is make the whole of aviation attractive as a career, or like talking about the various roles that are in it. I remember 4 years ago I got involved with the Future of Women in Aviation webinar. It was amazing.
Nice.
I remember sitting at it going, air crash investigation. Of course we have air crash investigation. but I never thought of it as a career path or a career opportunity. So it was only because I was watching this that I kind of like remembered, oh, these careers are out there. So we do need to show, that that it's very interesting and accessible, and we have to make it more accessible. We definitely do. There's a lot of countries that are making it very accessible, and there's a lot of programs that are making it very accessible. But if we all join together and we promote together, I think it would help as well. Um, I see
On
there's
that
a
note, I do actually see that there's a lot happening, especially on the regulatory side of the industry, which is supporting this. And it's came from ICAO, it's came from NGAP initiatives, but there are a lot of support. So there's a comment on the chats that says Western kids lack the motivation and they don't find aviation attractive, whereas Eastern kids find it attractive, but they don't have access. So regulatory side, there's been a lot of support in making it more accessible. Traditionally, one of the major problems, especially when we're talking Eastern, Western environments, is you're under one condition when it comes to regulations. In Europe, you're under EASA. In America, you're under FAA. When you get to Eastern, African countries, Latin American countries, Asian countries, it's a complete mishmash. It changes all the regulations. But the last couple of years, there's been, especially post-COVID, there's been a lot of continuity between national aviation authorities to support like an overarching legislation. So engineers from India can now come and work anywhere in the world. Engineers from Latin America can come work anywhere in the world. The regulations for cabin crew are basically the same. I know that ASA, who deal with all the ground handling training all across the world, they're now doing like a training passport. So if you're trained to be a ground handler in one country, you can move to another country and still work under the same regulations because you've done a training course which is recognized by everybody. So the world is working together to actually try and support that attraction element of, by the way, into it, you can work on this, get training here, and you can go anywhere and work. So it's becoming a lot better.
Is cost a factor in a lot of the training and products, but it's not everything has a college
Not everything
attachment
has a
to it.
college, and there's very few
There's a lot of apprenticeships as well. So
yeah. I mean,
how do we show that access to those kids that haven't got the access right now?
so that is where the likes of the Moas and the influencers, that's part of what they have to do more of, is emphasizing how to actually get into the industry. And this is where on TY Hub, we talked about actually having those resources on it to help it. But university is not something you necessarily need to get into aviation. I mean, I never went to university. I joined as an apprentice engineer, built up as an engineer, got transferred into different departments, and then ended up starting my own training company and built on from there. So I had no formal education as such, like nothing that cost money, but I got into that. And most of the people I know never got into aviation via university. They go into it via schemes that are on the job training or transferred into it. Depends what you're kind of wanting to do. The only ones that kind of need academic education or education at costs would be pilot schemes, which can be very expensive. But again, they've got pay-as-you-go schemes now and other schemes to get into it for underprivileged individuals, but also those that are in kind of design departments or into continuous airworthiness. Anything that requires a specific, it's called Parcamo in Europe, they need actual university degrees, but pretty much everything else don't need university degrees. And this is where quite a few airline executives and I had a conversation a couple of months ago at a conference. We were all sat together discussing it, and I was explaining, like, for these airline execs, well, your hubs, your airlines are, yes, they're all over, but they've got hubs in specific areas. Are you going and talking to the kids that are within a 10-mile radius of your local airport? No, we're not. Why not? Because that's your demographic. If they're within 10 miles or 10 kilometers, they've got easy access to come in. And like we said, the majority of the jobs don't need a huge educational background or academia. So you can take them straight from high school and get them into the industry and support them that way. And you're encouraging these kids who are from different backgrounds and maybe have never been told that they can go to university or never been told that they're good enough to go to university, that there is a opportunity for them to get into an industry which is worldwide and that is transferable. And we don't talk about this enough.
No, no, we don't. I do see the comment there. If you don't see it, you don't believe it.
True.
That's definitely true, and that's why I was so passionate about setting up AvCon last year, and that was thanks to being involved in the Future of Women in Aviation webinar. There's lots of workshops all around Ireland, the UK, are my areas that I would know about. I'm not too sure. I think, is this, are you based in Brussels, the person that was asking the question there, or the last couple of comments? I'm not too sure what it's like in other countries around the world, but there's the women in aviation chapters all around the world. There's uh, student associations all linked with aviation. You can reach out to them. You can reach out to the authorities and find out what way. And I know, like, the authorities are kind of coming on board more and more every year. There's something new and something different where they are getting more involved with the regulatories. Are getting more involved with the students and the inspiration of the next generation and workshops and everything like that. There's so many expos around the world that I'd love to attend, and that I know I never could, because they're either all on the same day, or they're too far apart. But there's plenty out there. We just need to show them. I wonder, would maybe the likes of the air shows that have been going forever, and they're amazing. I love going to our one every year. Could we make that a little bit more educational, and have an education day towards them? Like the bigger ones like Paris and Farnborough in the UK, and that. They are on TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, we're trying to open that side of it to it as well. But that's what I was saying. Like, if we can have them, these websites, and regulatories and air shows and expos, bring in an education officer maybe, and somebody that has worked with education, and can do social media, and link it all together, and maybe do lives like we do with AvCon, so that it is actually more accessible for students
So
everywhere.
one agency that's actually been trying to support that is the GAST, the Global Aerospace and Aviation Skills Task Force. It was set up by representatives of different national aviation authorities, and part of ICAO and a few others, where it's kind of 5 work streams: the value proposition, engagement, training, workspace culture, and then next gen, and that aspect of it. And what they're doing is they're putting together, like, working a lot with younger individuals, with universities, with national aviation authorities in general, to understand, like, exactly what people were saying there. Don't go on websites. How can we actually connect on TikTok and Instagram and use the younger generation as influencers to be like, right, here's all the resources that we've put together. Here's all the knowledge transfer that we can give you. Now start transferring it onto these sites that we are not on, so the younger generation can get to see it. But that involves all of us kind of working together to a certain degree and actually supporting each other. And that actually might, since we've got a bit of time now, why don't we ask a question on the chats, like, what do you see as the main problem, apart from not being on TikTok and Instagram? What do you see as the main challenge of getting transferable knowledge over to the younger generation? And what would you like to see more of? I don't know how many people on live chat. So
I don't know either. Actually, I'm trying to. There's 5 on LinkedIn. There's 2 via StreamYard, and I can't actually see what's on YouTube. And I haven't checked in on Facebook to see how many are in there. But what? Sorry, we kind of went off on 2 different tangents there, and decided to put the question out there to our viewers. But and it died out, if I'm not mistaken. Is that gas that you're
Gas
referring
never
to?
died out. It took a bit of a slow point, so it could restructure, but it restructured and it's gone back up stronger again. And their new platforms are coming out June, July time. So there is a lot happening there.
Okay. With the, like setting up for the next generation, a lot of people within the industry, how to make it better. I think we've been very focused in the industry how to make it better as we're working it.
Yeah.
So it is a bit slower, kind of like bringing in the next gen and making it preparing for the next gen within the aviation industry, and trying to do it all at the same time.
I agree with that comment in there. More interaction, more zone experience, more events where kids can interact with industry practitioners. Yeah, more stuff like AFCON, basically. Like that's one actually thing that
Everybody's packing it up and going anywhere in the world. It's not a problem. But yeah, no,
well,
it
that's the
is.
thing we can work on is talking with other countries and be like, right,
Yeah,
this has been a success in Ireland. Working with
no,
Fiona and the team of AFCON, how can you do it in your country? What do you need? And we'll come over and support you with it. Absolutely.
exactly. I mean, like the TC Alliances, you did start the app. We were 2 months ago,
2 months ago.
as well, where professionals can communicate. So you have got schools on board on this one as well.
We've got schools
We
on board
have
who are
them.
with a
Yeah, and
number.
we have them here at TY Hub as well. So if it's but one TY Hub is more Ireland and UK. TC Alliance, is that global? Is that focusing on
Is,
one area
is,
when it comes to the schools and the conversation?
so this is where we're going to need support, and this is where obviously you and I have been chatting, Fiona, and where we're going to need the support from everybody is that
Mm,
we want to be able to do things to help the next generation. And I'm working with some influencers. My company are working with some influencers, but their lines is more focused around getting professionals together. It's a more
yeah,
for professionals who've already got 20 years experience and how they can actually use their knowledge experience to be trainers and consultants and support the industry. Then it's like, right, so we're getting that knowledge transfer of all the best of the best. Then we can pass it on to the likes of AFCON and whoever else in order to portray it. So when it comes to actually having professionals around the world to showcase best practices, their career trajectory, how they go into it, that we can get from our members. That's not an issue. Like, and they're all quality assured. They're all from the same mentality. But it's that next step of connecting it with conferences, educational partners, people like AFCON and TY Hub that we need support with. And those are on the chats. We're going to need support from all you to be like, right, what do you actually need? Get in contact
better
with us.
internet, better internet all across the world. You just glitched out there for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that. The weather here. I didn't even realize I glitched out, so I have no idea what was heard and what wasn't heard.
It was literally just the end part there, gathering. Yeah.
Get in contact with us and share your thoughts about what it is that you need to support and what it is that you would like to have that maybe you don't have time to get involved with, and we can actually start getting the professionals and the educational partners together and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, exactly. Let's keep the conversations going with the industry. Reach out to either myself or Claudio, and we'll set up something where we can keep these chats going and see what you need help with in the industry, and where in the world you are, and we can work on that one. Claudio's put up his details there in the chat much quicker than I did, but yeah, no, reach out to Claudio. He's loads of time. He's grounded for the next month.
But that's the thing, though. It's not just the conversations, and I would argue that there's been a lot of companies that just talk. Why I've got in contact with Fiona and why we're doing these kind of things. It's because Fiona's been so proactive and not just talking. AFCON's, like you said, got 14,000 live streamers, 6,000 people there in person. These are the kind of things that we need to get pushed along, and actually like, how can we support it, not just talking. So I'm putting my company up there to like, right, how we're going to support however you need when it comes to training, when it comes to subject matter experts. We'll put that forward. How can we actually help you?
Yeah,
Country life.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
so happy to help. We do this for years. Contact Aviol for co-op. There we go. Definitely, that yeah, it's kind of let's get this movement moving. It's been in the works for quite a while. Yeah, it is a common goal as well. But back to teachers and parents, the resources are there for teachers and parents and students to look out. What I'll have it up on TY Hub very soon, different places where you can that we've just spoken about, and where you can have a look at, and we'll have it up on Avcon as well. Um, for those that are in education, and um, the colleges and how to make those, the apprenticeships, the colleges, the courses, the programs more accessible, more attractive, and let's shout about them and get them out there. Um, we work with quite a few schools here in Ireland, so there's like 780 secondary schools in Ireland, give or take. There's new schools popping up everywhere. So there's quite a huge outreach that our platform that we can reach out on for you. If you have information that you want to put out to parents and students, not just doing these kind of talks. We do have TikTok and we do have Instagram as well. We actually the following is slowly but surely nicely growing as well.
Nice.
So the socials are there. Not quite at the 10 million like Mo, but we'll get there. We've a
Gotta
smaller
get that.
pool.
One step, one step at a time, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? It's also like the likes of aviation, aviation courses, programs, companies getting involved in the likes of Avcom, but also other expos, education expos. Um, so I know we're talking about all of the aviation site workshops and things like that. But there are like education expos, education shows. Here in Ireland, we have plenty of like skills days where students can attend with their schools for free. Sometimes there's a small charge on them, but a lot of them are for free as well. Um, like we should be there. Aviation should be at these prominently at these events as well. TY Hub does attend a lot of career days as a hub, and we do bring our clients with us on those days as well. So think I think we were at a career day in Limerick back in January, and I had 4 out of the 5 companies that were at my stand that day, representing an industry, was all aviation.
Right.
One health and safety and first aid, but the rest were all aviation related companies. So that was, and it was the hive of business. Listening to the students, that was, I love going to these career days to listen to what they have to say, and then connecting what they want, what they think they want to do, to a career in aviation, and they're kind of looking at you going, what? I remember I had attended the space medicine um, chat in DCU Alpha before Christmas, and I used that information that I learned that day to talk to students in Limerick that were interested in medicine, and
Nice.
I kind of connected the two, and I was like, there's space medicine out there, and I was like having that very casual conversation, not like a robot telling them this is a career for you, this is what you can do, but like listen to what their interests are. I remember, I don't know what, when you were a kid, or but especially when I was a kid, Claudio, it was like, what do you want to do when you grow up? What career do you want to do? And it was very linear.
It's very
Whereas, yeah, whereas now I think if we ask them what their interests are, what their skills are, what their attributes are, because they surely know about their own qualifications and qualities and stuff more than we would have done back in the day. But they do. If we ask them what their interests are, what subjects they like doing, what quality, what skills do they like working as a team? Do they like where are their pros and cons? And have that conversation, and almost like a psychometric test, but it's we're speaking about it.
Well, in person,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and just having that in-person conversation and asking them, and then kind of just taking a step back and going, well, maybe it's not engineering, but like I said, space medicine was something, and the eyes lit up, and then or join the Irish Air Corps and as a rear crew paramedic, and go into medicine that way. There was so many different connections that we're able to make through having that conversation, and even for my own brain going, oh wow, I'm going back to I can't I could never forget that moment that I had. And like, I have a huge interest in aviation industry, um purely because I'm talking to people that have the same interests, that are wanting to get the conversation going, wanting to make a difference, and inspire the next generation. And if we can't inspire each other and we can't have the open conversations with each other, we're never going to get the next
No,
generation to feel the same enthusiasm that is there. But I'll never forget the first aviation webinar that I was involved with, and I was watching it as a viewer, and I just was dumbfounded. I was like, we have air crash investigation. Like, you can make a career out of that. That
it,
moment for me, I thought we have to get this out here.
So last 2 months ago, actually maybe a bit longer, before I went traveling a lot, I attended the opening day of the aerospace committee here in Saudi Arabia,
Mm.
and they're creating a whole new aerospace division in Jeddah, and that was very interesting from my point of view to understand that, like, aviation and aerospace obviously connected, but just the amount of jobs that are necessary in that part of the sector alone,
Mm.
of just creating all the infrastructure that's required, all the design aspects, all the manufacturing, and it's like things you would never even think of. Like, and it's just incredible, absolutely incredible, of what's required in order to get our industry up and running.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's so much out there. We just need to actually, like we said, we need to finalize getting all the bits and pieces together to identify, like, this is everything that we can do in the industry. These are all the skills that you need, and all the skills that, if you've got, that are transferable in, and then get it out there to the public, and then support and get the support of the influencers and the young generation to be like, right, how can you communicate this to your generation? How can you communicate this to the high school ones and the ones going through it, like, so they're aware of it. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. Oh, thank you for putting all that there as well. So has anybody else got any questions before, because I know it's coming to the top of the hour and people have all obviously got lunch and meetings and everything else. So has anybody got any other questions or any other comments that you want to make before we finalize this? It's a bit difficult when
Anybody
it's
in, I know it's like tumbleweed going through, like, oh no, please don't put us up in front of anybody. There's a reason why we're watching it and not on it. But also, I think if you're asked by your company or a school, like, I know a lot of schools can reach out to companies and ask them to, a friend might be a parent of a secondary school or a high school student, and they might be having a career day or a mock interview day, and they reach out and they say, hey, would you mind coming and giving us a hand? You're in aviation, or you're in accountancy, or you're wherever. Don't say no, say yes, because you will learn an awful lot from those days as well, from the students. I love learning from the students. So I think we all need to start saying yes to schools. And I mean, like, there's only so many days in a week and so many hours in a day, but I think if we all reached out, or if a school reached out and put ourselves out there a little bit more, then we're helping to spread the word about if we could get 10% of the school population interested in aviation,
They
in
might actually
Ireland,
get
we're
some.
you might get somewhere. But even talking to those like that we don't have a notion about aviation. I remember listening to two guys walking away from Avcon, and they were like, "Oh my God, air traffic control! That actually sounds like a really interesting job. Might look into that." And I kind of like was like, had they any interest in aviation at all? Probably not. There was some girls there that were at AFCON that put comments up on our Instagram afterwards saying, "Don't forget us when we come looking for a job in a couple of years' time." So I mean, like AFCON is from the ages of 15 through to 25. So we have a huge range of ages there, mostly 15-year-olds. So like as an industry, we shouldn't be afraid of them either, because they're not going to be in our workforce for the next 4 years or 3 years, or let's get them into the industry. Let's get keep that conversation open with them, and put them as oh, they might be in our company in the next 4 years. What can we make as changes to our company to suit them to come in as well?
And that's the other main important thing. I mean, a lot of people, especially our generation, kind of talk about, oh, yeah, what can we do? What can we do? Well, we can get the industry ready for them. We can
Mm,
actually work on making sure that the environment they're going into is ready to accept them and it's not fighting each other, and that we're actually open and honest about these younger generation coming in. They're coming in with different moral aspects than what we had. I mean, like you said earlier, when we were looking at careers, it was very linear. It wasn't about what we wanted or about our values. It was about we need to be well paid and we need X, Y, and Z. Whereas that's different. I mean, I see my nieces and nephews, all of them teenagers, and they're really going into like why they want to do this and why they want to do that. And I'm encouraging aviation, and now they're all looking at aviation, which is great. But it's like you've got to get the industry ready for those people as well, and make sure that they're aware of exactly what they're getting into, and make sure that we're aware that this younger generation coming in don't think like us,
yeah.
and be ready for that as well. So yeah, a
There's
lot can be done.
there's something that I came across. So my family would be one half is construction background, the other half is logistics. So I'm going to talk about the construction side of it for a minute. There was something that came to Avcon. Somebody reached out to Avcon last year, and so obviously we know about drones and what they can do here in Ireland. Delivering food and medicines is a fairly new thing, but it's great if you live in that area. And people are getting used to it. So I think it's that fear of why would I want a drone delivering my food? But now they're like, oh, hopping on board. Yeah, I'm just getting
Absolutely.
Mana to drop over me food, So it's no need to hop in a car. It's sustainable as well. But anyway, I digress from where I was going with that one. So my 16-year-old is in TY. He's just finishing up at the moment. I have two older adults, and I have two younger than him as well. So, but he's very into construction and engineering for construction, that side of things. And I remember Jonathan Blackmore reached out, and it was amazing talking to this man. He does a course in the Technical University of the Shannon, drones for construction. And I was like, oh, look, I can get aviation into construction. I was like pushing my 16-year-old going, you're going to do aviation eventually. So here we go, but yeah, so it was that course drones for construction that kind of stuck out, and I was like, we need to talk to schools about this. This is exciting. Maybe I get a little bit too excited. I don't know, but I thought this was, this is another way around getting students to think about aviation, is showing the combinations that can be there, and the crossover in the industries and the proactiveness that is there. And then I have my 5-year-old who has been talking for the past, ever since she could talk, about becoming a pilot, and then it kind of was an astronaut for a while, but it's gone back to a pilot now. She wants. Yeah, she wants to. Yeah, mommy has to work very hard for her to become a pilot. But anyway,
No, I wish you
but she looks at it as like she wants to work with her big brother who works in aviation. So that's it's there. My eldest is an archaeologist, so we just leave her leave that one alone.
yeah.
Um, but then who's Chris Hatfield talks about the archaeology and space, linking that together as well. So
There
there's
you go.
everywhere without you even realizing. So I think having that conversation and doing more chats like this. We have another one coming up in September for the schools.
Yes.
Um, so I'm looking forward to that, and it'll be student one. So we'll get working on some more subjects, and maybe if anybody else wants to hop on that
Please
particular
do.
live podcast, let us know. Reach out to either myself or Claudio, and the more people that jump in on this and want to have that conversation with students, let's show you how you can do it, and reaching out to a couple of thousand students on one day. And then if anybody wants to know more about AvCon, just reach out, and every little support helps
Yeah,
everywhere.
for those who
So
commented as well, thank you for commenting and getting involved. I know a lot of people
definitely.
don't look to it, but I know there's a couple hundred people on here listening. So really appreciate you coming along, listening, and being part of this. And yeah, please do reach out and get involved. And thank you, Fiona, for having me on here. Really appreciate it. And yeah, great conversation as always. And it's great as well that we're starting to do things as well, not just talk about it, but actually get things done. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you very
It
much.
is time to get things done. We've stared at that magic 8 ball for way too long, and get in and dig in and get dirty, and help out wherever you can. Reach out to local schools, the universities. If you've got courses that you have, because I think there's a few universities connected today as well, watching in. So the universities and colleges do reach out. Let us know what you have, and we can pop it up as part of the resource to this. And yeah, let's keep that conversation going. Anywhere in the world, let us know where you are, and we will try and help you contact the students and prepare them while they're still in school. Super. So I'm going to leave it here. I think we're all talked out and everybody's very questioned out. But yeah, no, thanks so much for everybody's
Thanks so much.
comments and getting involved. Um, we're I think we've a sunny day all over Ireland today. It was a bit of a stormy day yesterday. So I'm going to sign off from TY Hub for the summer holidays. And we'll see you back in September. Have a great summer. Thanks, Alessandro. Alessandro. Always a positive person there. But have a great summer, and enjoy whatever you do. There's plenty of little workshops going on around Ireland, with aviation, air shows. I think there's loads this summer. Loads of different air shows. Well, all around the world. There's lots of them. Here in Ireland, we have Bray Air Display. So if you're going to that, enjoy. We will be there, and we'll talk to you all in September. Thanks a million, Claudio.
Thanks very much, everybody. Speak to you soon. Bye.